My name is Ali Abu Awwad. I'm a Palestinian and I'm a refugee from 1948. And I'm coming from a very political family. My mother used to be one of the leaders of Fatah movement in PLO. And all of my life I was part of resistance and revolution against the Israeli occupation, because all of my life was managed and controlled by that occupation.
I'm Hanan Schlesinger, I'm a rabbi, and I want to present to you the three elements of my identity: Jew, Zionist, settler. So if I'm a Jew and a Zionist, and I'm coming back to the land after 2,000 years of longing and fulfilling something that my greatest forefathers, the greatest rabbis of the Middle Ages, couldn't achieve, and we achieved, I want to go back to where it all began, where it all continued, and where I think is the most powerful place for a Jew to be. Because where I live, in Alon Shvut, Gush Etzion, Judah, within Judah and Samaria, where I live is a place that I can walk and feel the footsteps of Abraham. I can see the artifacts from the first temple and the second temple period. I know I'm where I have to be and where the Jewish people must be. And that identity is really powerful and really significant and really meaningful. It's an envelope that completely describes the meaning of a Jew for us in the 21st century. And I believe that the power and the justice and the overwhelming significance of that narrative blinded me for most of my life to another truth.
I was arrested in 1990 because I participated in the first Intifada, and that was the first place that I found for myself to throw out this anger and to raise my voice that I exist. I exist as a human being, and I deserve to live as a human being and to die as a human being. What was pushing me is not hatred. What was pushing me, that I was trying to find a place to deal with the daily suffering, where to put the anger. Especially that I know that I don't deserve to live this way. Why should I? Why should I be a victim of an existence of another nation? Why should I? Is it forbidden to be a Palestinian? Is it a guilt that we are judged every day by having this miserable life? I grow up with these values that educate me easily to resist.
I didn't see the Palestinians, not as individuals, not as a collective, not at all. They were invisible. We didn't see that in consummating God's promise for us, we were conquering and bringing under the thumb of our control far over 2 million people who did not want to be under our control. We didn't see, and I didn't see.
Peace for us as Palestinians is to taste what does it mean to live in peace. Not to keep having statements and hope and agreements and initiatives which has become just a piece of papers, not touched our life and changed our life conditions. That's the peace that we were hoping to have. Then in 2000, everything has collapsed as a consequence of these reasons and many other reasons. And I was badly wounded by a settler, and my brother was violently killed by Israeli soldiers. He left us a son and a daughter and this huge package of pain, and he left us a big question. What could be the answer for me to heal all what I have been through, to heal all of that pain? Is it revenge? I mean, how many people shall I kill then? How many Israeli mothers has to cry to tell these mothers that my mother don't deserve to cry?
And it's an amazing thing. It's a curiosity of human perception that you can see and not see. That so much of what goes on in front of your eyes and in the presence of your ears doesn't register because it's not part of your narrative, because you haven't been prepared in your thinking, in your education, to see those things that don't fit. And what caused me to begin to see is meeting this amazing man. 15 months ago, when I met Palestinians for the first time. And I'm extremely embarrassed to say that I was surprised to see that they're human beings, to see that they have smartphones, to see that they have wives and children, and they can speak English, and that they wear jackets that say seeds of peace, that they speak the language of peace. It didn't fit into what I was trained to see and to expect.
So I was having this argument between my bleeding heart and my political mind, which was convinced about nonviolence. Then I was stuck until one day I met a group of bereaved Israeli families who came to my home and were invited by my mother. And that was the first time in my life that I saw an Israeli crying. And that meeting has changed my life. That meeting has brought back a taste to my life. And suddenly you see a victim. And suddenly you see a partner. And suddenly you stop this competition of suffering. And suddenly you stop representing yourself just as a victim. And suddenly you have hope, but this hope also is not strategized. Joining an organization for reconciliation will not solve the problem, in my opinion. Creating another organization for peace will not solve the problem. It has to be a national movement on the ground, a national nonviolence movement. Because peace for us is not to dialogue with Israelis. We are not willing to dialogue forever. Dialogue is not a goal for us. Peace for us is not to go to 5-star peace conferences, where these organizations take their members to feel good with themselves and they eat hummus and hug each other. Peace for us is not to continue a good life. Peace for us is to start living, because we are not alive. If this peace cannot change our life condition, we cannot challenge the extremist and stand with a big power in front of them. Because whatever the peace and the peaceful speech will be, it will not convince the people that there is any hope. Because peace is engagement in normal life conditions. This is peace for me.
It shouldn't have happened that Ali and myself met. It wasn't in the cards that we became friends and colleagues and began building movements together. It shouldn't have happened because where we come from, Palestinian-Israelis have no contact. None. No contact as human beings. When I met Ali a year and a half ago, on the day that changed my life, until that point, I had never, ever met a Palestinian as an equal. As a soldier, checking documents, I had met Palestinians. As a homeowner, having workers in my house to paint or to garden, I had met Palestinians. But as an equal, as a human being, never in my life, despite the fact that for 34 years, I've lived in Gush Etzion, where 95% of the population are Palestinians. But I didn't see them. But I began to see that there's another truth. My truth, as I understand it, my Jewish, Zionist, settler truth, is intact, and it's powerful, and it moves me every day to continue my living and my teaching. But I also see that there's another truth. I see that my truth is partial. I have been taught, and I've taught students, that there's truth everywhere. The definition, as far as I understand, of falsehood is partial truth masquerading as full truth. Partial truth masquerading as full truth. I've discovered that my truth is only partial. And I'm in a process of incorporating another truth, the Palestinian truth, the individual and collective truth of the Palestinians into my soul. I'm expanding my understanding of history and of truth.
If we understand the demand for peace, what we need to have a peaceful life, that our generation and our next generation will not judge us because we have that responsibility. I don't want to die where my kids one day will tell me before I die that you didn't make anything for that. That's why I'm here, and please be open to be part of that.